Welcome to a new episode of From Every Path, a podcast celebrating the unique journeys of our Ward family. Each episode will explore the life of one member, learning how their path, whether filled with challenges, triumphs, or quiet moments, has brought them closer to God and enriched our Ward community. This is Channy Akin, and thank you for joining us. Today we have the privilege of sitting down with Sister Lee, someone whose kindness and warmth have touched so many in our Ward. Sister Lee has been a beloved part of our congregation, and her story is one I know you'll find both inspiring and uplifting. From her journey of faith and the lessons she's learned along the way, there's so much we can gain by hearing about her life and experiences. Sister Lee, thank you for being here with us today. We're so excited to get to know you better and to begin in your story.
Okay.
I want to start everything with asking some favorites.
Question.
Some favorites.
Okay.
That is one thing I saw a podcast on from another war. That's what they do. So I want to start with some of your favorite things. So I've got a handful here. We'll start with the easy one.
Okay.
What's your favorite color?
Yellow.
Yellow. Nice. What is your favorite dessert?
Ooh. Anything that I don't have to make.
Yeah. Or the way to roast. Because it's work when you have to make it, right? Yeah. What's your favorite holiday?
I love Christmas.
I'm sure that's going to be a very common one.
Right?
What is your favorite flower?
A rose.
Yeah. A particular color?
Yellow, just because yellow.
Yellow. Yeah. What's your favorite time of the day?
Ooh. Probably the mornings, just because I feel like I can get more done.
Yeah.
Early mornings.
I'm not. That's good of you. So you get up before the sun and get stuff done.
Oh,
That's
yes.
cool. Good for you. Let's do a few that are a little more in depth. What is your favorite book or story that's influenced your life?
Cool. Well, let's go with the Book of Mormon, just because
Yeah.
there are so many different stories in it,
Mm-hmm.
and you can learn a different concept from each different book in the Book of Mormon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's so many perspectives and thoughts on that for sure. What's your favorite hobby or activity that helps you recharge?
I love me some water aerobics.
Yeah?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes.
Do you go to just the rec center or what?
Yes, you're right.
Okay.
Perfect.
Nice. Yeah. That's cool. What is a favorite family tradition that you've kept or want to start?
So we do a family Christmas party with my side of the family every year.
Mm-hmm.
And they all come over here and we get together and just eat and laugh and talk and play and
Cool.
enjoy it.
Like extended family or how big is your family?
So I have 4 brothers and then they're all married.
Yeah.
And then I have my parents.
Okay.
So we're about 30 of us.
Yeah. And you fit them all in here.
Real.
Just hanging out. That's cool. What is your favorite fictional character and why might you relate to them?
Oh, geez. Let's go with a Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
That's funny, huh?
Yeah.
And why? Just because he's kind of awkward and, he goes with the flow. I think he enjoys life.
Yeah.
But
And he's a friend favorite.
yes,
That's good.
he's one of the good guys.
Yeah. He is one of the.
So
Not a lot of bad ones in Charlie Brown. It's true. Lucy, baby, or so. And let's end with this one. What's your favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Usually it's either on a family vacation with my family. We've done California and Florida quite a bit. And it's just that getaway, recharge, spend quality family time.
Yeah. Our family hasn't done Disneyland yet.
Okay.
Since Courtney and I have been together, she really wants to. But we've gone to Cali a few times. Mostly, she's a huge beach girl. She loves the beach, so.
There's something relaxing about it.
Yeah. Okay. So now for your childhood and family background, how would you describe your relationship with your family growing up?
It was good. I had a good childhood. My parents kind of spoiled us. I have 4 brothers. So growing up,
The only girl.
being the only girl,
Yeah.
I everyone
Did that mean they beat you up like a fellow brother?
they
or
did.
did they
They
really take care of you?
did. No, I probably was more the guardian of my
Oh, okay.
brothers than they were of me. They didn't
Nice.
care about their sister. But I I had 4 brothers, and we had a good childhood. I grew up as one of the boys. I
There you
loved
go.
playing sports and just being active, and
Uh-huh.
I tried to run along with them. My older brother probably hated it because I was
Yeah,
his
they
little
don't want to
chaplain,
saddle him.
but it was good. It was a good childhood. I was probably the little mom to 3 younger brothers, so they had to deal with 2 moms.
2 moms.
Yep.
Um,
My mom worked at night,
oh,
so both my parents worked at Hill Air Force Base, and so they worked opposite shifts so that they
somebody was
didn't
always
have to have a
home.
babysitter, and that was just our life. We, at times, had to get ourselves up and get ourselves ready, and I was the one that they'd wake up in the morning and say, "Get your older brother out of bed, and you guys get to school," and got everybody fed into school, and so, yeah, I played little mama for quite a while
Alright.
in my childhood growing up.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you were born around here then?
Grew up in Syracuse,
Okay.
Utah. Yep. Lived in Syracuse till I went away to school. Then I went to Idaho. At the time, it was Rick's College, so that dates me a little bit.
No.
Yeah.
No. Wasn't that long ago, was it?
I hope not.
Yeah, I don't remember what year. I remember that.
Yeah.
So it's not that far back.
Yeah. So,
Well, let's keep you a little bit younger still, so we get more of your childhood. Was there I was gonna say, is there a mother or grandmother who influenced your values? Sounds like maybe your mother, obviously, but
yeah. Probably both moms, my mom and both my grandparents.
okay.
We didn't see them a whole lot because they were in Spanish Fork.
Okay.
So back then when the speed limit was 55 to get there, it took a good chunk of day to get
55
there.
to
And
Spanish Fork. I
yeah,
remember 65. I don't know if I remember
it
55.
was 55.
Yeah,
So
it takes a while.
you had the whole day. And my grandparents lived both on the same street, about a mile apart.
Oh, wow.
So we could stop at one, visit them, and then head to the others. And it was nice because we got to visit both grandparents.
Yeah.
On my dad's side, I was the only girl grandchild. All the other ones were boys. So
Dang.
I've had
around with a lot
boys,
of
boys.
testosterone.
Yes.
Nice.
On my mom's side, there were boys and girls. The boys' cousins were a little bit older.
Uh-huh.
So I've got couple cousins that are my age that they grew up in Layton, and we were able to interact with them through sports. We all played AYSO soccer, and we got to interact with them. So between my aunt, my mom's sister, and then my grandmother, and on both sides, and my mom, there were definitely the influences from them on what we do.
On
And,
that as well, then.
yeah.
So that means your parents are from Spanish Fork area, then, right?
Yes,
And they came up here for the base.
they did.
Okay.
Yep.
So other aunts and uncles came up this way.
Mostly just that one.
Okay.
I've got aunts and uncles in southern Utah, like Payson area. They're more south.
Mhm.
We're the north ones.
Still in Utah Valley.
Yep.
I mean, that's not too far.
No.
What's the earliest childhood memory that you can remember? Because I'm not good with that. I can't remember a
People
lot.
might think this one's a little demented, but I remember being at my mom's grandpa's, and it must have been a viewing, and somebody obviously had touched grandpa and moved him, and I just remember thinking when I was little that his hand moved, and I was probably 4 years old
Okay.
at that time.
Yeah.
And I just remember that grandpa moved.
So was it more? Were you thinking he was kind of
He was
still in there? Yeah.
I also remember going to his house,
Uh huh.
and years later I had talked with my mom about the layout of his house. And she says, "How can you remember that? You were like 4 years old."
Huh.
I don't know why I remember it. It must have been impactful somehow. But
It's Grandpa's house.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that was 4 years old.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So a little bit before school started, but how was school? Where did you go to school here?
I did. So I went to Syracuse Elementary
Okay.
for kindergarten, and then they built Cook Elementary, and I
Which one?
Cook,
Oh, yeah.
and then I went over to Cook 1st through 6th grade.
Okay.
It was good. Enjoyed all the teachers. Had good friends. Loved school. Loved going to school. It was never a I
All
don't
the
wanna
way
go to
through all the
school.
12 years?
I did. I enjoyed school. So
Yeah. I didn't have some favorite teachers.
yeah.
Did you have a favorite teacher?
Oh, I don't know about favorite teacher. Maybe favorite activities, I guess. I remember my 1st grade. No, she was my 2nd grade teacher. She brought a boa constrictor to school, and so all the kids got to touch the snake.
Mm-hmm.
And that was an experience. And then in 3rd grade, I remember doing like a craft pillow where we sewed rags together
Uh-huh.
and made a pillow for Christmas for our family. So
Like hand sewed.
more yarn
Oh, okay.
tied, I guess I should
Gotcha.
say.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
What kind of extracurricular activities did you participate in?
Through elementary, I
You mentioned soccer already.
played soccer, did AYSO. There was a stint of about 3 months where my mom signed me up for piano lessons, and I tried to learn the piano, but soccer was more fun. So
Yeah.
the piano didn't last very long. I wish it would have now.
Yeah, of course.
It's a great talent to have and one that I don't have. So we roller skated, we bicycled, just the normal kid stuff that you did back then. You'd go out until the sun went down and then
Yep.
get called home to eat dinner when the street lights came on. So
Yep. So soccer was the only one you played.
in elementary, once I got to junior high, I played basketball
Okay.
in junior high on the school team.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then high school, I played soccer and basketball
For the school.
for the school. They had this yearbook thing. So through 7th grade to high school, they would nominate, like who has the best personality, who has the best eyes, who has the best whatever. And I was most athletic. So I guess
We're
something
super proud of it.
something to brag
Yeah.
about for.
Okay. So the house wasn't very musically. Did anybody else in your family play instruments?
So my mom played the piano. She played the clarinet. She tried to learn the guitar and teach herself. She's got all the musical talent, and my brothers and I, we sing in the choir at the school, but
Yeah.
other than that,
Yeah.
didn't really hit our generation, I guess.
Shit, you just want to be outside running around.
We got more of my dad played sports in high school, and so we probably took him more after my dad that way.
Yeah.
High school, their sports, they were more fun.
Yeah.
So
Okay. We'll talk more about like what you do now and stuff, but
Right.
as far as where you're at in life now, were there any part of your education that shaped your goals and passions that led to now?
mm, I always liked school. I remember them coming in and talking about career day and what jobs were available. And I remember looking at, dollar signs thinking, oh, the one that makes the most money, that would be the perfect job. And not necessarily. Once I got to school, I was taking just my generals at Rick's College and with the idea of going into nursing. And then my brother at 10 years old was hit by a car and spent a lot of time in the hospital. And I decided that nursing in my tender heart wasn't going to work out so well. So we didn't go into nursing.
Yeah. Just too hard for you? Like seeing the state he was in?
Probably I emotionally attached myself, and it's hard to detach those emotions.
Yeah.
So I just said that one's not for me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to hold it together in a room long enough to do a job effectively. So
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I think we can move on to after high school, unless you've got any good stories from your school years. Any of them?
So one junior high story that influenced my life would be my friend that I met in 8th grade.
Okay.
She came from moving all over, and her family's not military, but they just moved a lot, and she had gone through some really trying things, and she shared that with me, and it impacted both my life and her life and church leaders around with the heaviness of what we were dealing with, and it was very impactful. So
that kind of changed who you were as a person. Just kind of.
I think it impacted it. I was always a good girl. I didn't really press boundaries too much, so it just more affirms that this is where I want to be in my life.
Cool.
Rather than watching others struggle,
Yeah.
stuff that they were dealing with.
Yeah.
So
as we move into your graduation and stuff, you went to Rick.
Yeah.
Was there a reason for that?
So in high school, I worked at Lagoon, kind of everybody's first job around here, it seemed like. And
I made it a week. I had a friend that wanted me really bad in high school to work at Lagoon with him. He was actually working on the grounds crew. So basically, their biggest job was to go around and empty all the garbages. But he loved it. And I found out why after I started. It's because at the time, I'm sure it's still like that now, you can bring in whatever you want to Lagoon. And everybody goes and takes their stuff back to the pavilions or whatnot. And a lot of times people would leave and forget stuff. And so it was actually their common practice at the time. The guys that cleaned the pavilion area
whatever,
got all the stuff that was left behind. You know, they would take to lost and found stuff that wasn't some worth keeping, especially, but personal stuff. But the one thing that they really liked was alcohol that was left behind.
Oh no.
These teenagers, I was I might have been 17, but I think 16 even. They would have unopened bottles and cans in the pavilion. Yeah, when I found out that was the incentive why my buddy wanted me to work with them, is because we could go and drink and stuff. I was like, it wasn't a good job. That's not appealing. I lasted 6 days.
Yeah. I worked at Lagoon. You could see that the influence there, like it was teenagers supervising teenagers. And in my head, I'm thinking this is probably not a good thing. It worked for me because I played sports through school, so I couldn't have an after-school job. So this was a good one for my summer. I could work all summer and save money, and then so it worked for me. But
what did you do there?
I ran the rides.
You were a ride operator.
I was a ride operator, and I would go in, I would work my shift, and then I couldn't wait to leave. There was a lot of kids that would hang out after and let's go do this activity, or
especially
let's go.
Like what I'm talking about. I can apply that kind of.
Yes, and it was just never. There wasn't ever anything that was good enough to keep me there. But I wanted to stay there to do at night. I'd just come home and go to bed. And my parents had it so easy. So that was high school. Those were my jobs. Save money. Then I'd go to Rick's for the semester, and then I'd come home and I'd work in the summer again and
Oh, so you
back.
did
And
that for years.
so just 2. It was
Okay.
a 2-year degree. At the time, they didn't have the 4-year there. It was just an associate's.
I meant working at Lagoon.
Yeah. So I worked there my junior and senior year. And then after that, I went to work for Ream's grocery store.
Okay.
So I worked there, and kind of the same thing, would work in the summer, go to school, and then come back home and work in the summertime. And
So why Rick?
I had met somebody at Lagoon that she was going there, and she had a crush on my brother, and she had talked about just the good atmosphere that was there, and the kids, and having family home evening brothers.
Yeah.
And so I told my parents, I want to go there. I want to try that. I feel like it would be a good thing for me. And they made it possible for me to go there. And I loved every minute of it.
Good.
I loved that it was a church school, and there were certain rules, if you will, that you had to follow.
Yeah, the
And
standards are definitely different than at home.
and I just knew that there wasn't going to be that yuck that you're going to see at most other schools. So that's why
So
I
you
chose
did
Rick's.
2 years,
Uh-huh.
just generals. So it was just associates in generals.
It was actually an associate in health science.
Oh, okay.
So
So you threw a few health classes.
I did.
Okay.
Did that while I was going to school. My second year, over the summer when I was down here working, I had run into an old friend who, her mom and his family kind of were our babysitters growing up when my mom was on day shift. And I had run into her mom at the grocery store, and she told me about her daughter and how she was hanging out with a young single adult group, and that I should contact her daughter. And
Here?
here. And I brushed her off and said, okay, I'll call her, some other time.
Yeah.
And
Probably tomorrow.
she came back in the store again, and she says, you haven't contacted my daughter. And so
Made a personal visit to
immediately
Yeah,
went home, and I contacted her daughter, and so I got involved in a young single adult group for the summer, which was great.
So this was after you got your associates at Rick.
The in between.
Oh, in between.
Yeah. Yeah, in between. And
Okay.
so met that group, and there was like, I don't know, 10 of us.
Oh,
And it was more girls than guys for sure.
yeah. So that was
So-
good for the guys.
So when you'd get together, it wasn't like you were going to pair off.
Yeah.
Because you just couldn't with numbers, how they worked. And it was a good group to get involved in and just run around and do fun activities with, and go to school dances up at Weber State and Institute and
Mhm.
Firesides. And that impacted my life quite a bit. That's where I
Okay.
met my husband,
Yeah.
who's a young single adult.
Cool. So how long were you a part of that before that happened? Like the feelings at least, I guess.
So we met in June when I got enough courage to call that group and meet them.
Mhm.
And then I went away to school in August, and I came back in December, and we went on a date, and it led to things very quickly, and
Mhm.
we were engaged in January and married in April. So it was quick.
So did you get your degree in that December, or did you have to
I
finish
did.
it?
I did.
Okay.
Yep.
You were done.
Yep.
You came back and really wrapped it up.
Yep.
That's how me according works is, so I get it. Yeah. Okay. So before we leave your college years, let's see about any of this. So your career was kind of in sync with getting married.
Yeah.
And so what is your career? What do you do?
So right now I am a facility manager for Davis School District.
Okay. So not health sciences.
No, not health sciences. Although, dealing with teenagers on a daily
Right.
is kind of light.
Yeah.
a health science degree.
So what did you start doing for work after you
So
graduated?
after I graduated, I went back to Reams
Uh-huh.
just because I needed a job because we were going to be poor married
Right.
couples.
Was that the one in Roy?
It was over in Layton.
Okay.
And I did that. And then I ran into a friend of a friend and got on at a floral shop, Mountain State Plants. And I worked there from 1994 to 2001 when I had Amanda. And then
So is that just a place that like sells flowers, or is it a?
they're wholesale.
Okay.
So they sell to the stores.
Okay. So do you nurseries and stuff as well? You had to care for the plants.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And you like that, obviously, 7 years.
I did. I actually was the receptionist when I first
Okay.
started, and then I moved into their sales department
Okay.
before I left.
Yeah.
Enjoyed that. Gained experience with accounts payable and receivable there, and invoicing and all that fun stuff, along with the sales part of it. And then I stayed home 2001 to about 2005, maybe. And then I went to school, or I went back to the school district and just worked part-time as a custodian, just as a sub, and did that as is. When I went back to work after I'd had my kiddos, after Amanda, I got to take the newborn baby hospital pictures.
Okay.
And I got that job through a friend of a friend.
Nice. Nice.
And so I did that for a while, and then the economy kind of tanked 2008.
2008.
And decided this isn't making the money
Enough
that
money.
we needed.
Yeah. Yep.
So I went back to the school district and just said, give me a little part-time job, and part-time turned into full-time, and now I've got 13 years in.
You're still doing it at the school district.
Yeah. And this last year, I went through WGU and I got my business management degree.
Okay. I was going to ask if you've done any more schooling.
Yep.
Are you still doing that?
Just finished up last February.
Nice.
So
is that a bachelor's?
it is.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, bachelor's businessman.
Cool.
Yep.
So,
okay.
is that did that help you with your job, but you were already managing?
I was already managing. It was more to gain more experience to hopefully move up into another position. And life hits you along the way, and now we're just to the point where, like, let's just see what's out there.
Okay.
So
some possibly career.
If an opportunity arises, I am open to looking at other possibilities that are out there.
So what facility do you manage?
I'm at North Davis Junior High.
Okay.
In Clearfield.
So what does that entail?
So I go in the morning and I open up the building. Okay. You check your temperatures of boiler, fridge, freezers, make sure everything's working from the night before. I oversee like the grounds, the cleaning of the building. There's a crew of about 11 of us.
11?
Right.
Wow.
Do our best to clean at the building. Yeah.
In my sophomore year, I was a part-time custodian at North Davis.
Okay. Yeah, there's about 11 of us.
Yeah.
Counting myself. And the thing that I probably like the most about it is the interaction with the students, more so than just running the building and making sure the building is okay. It's the daily interaction that happens between staff members and the kids that impacts my life.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I don't know, teenagers are kind of...
They can be.
Okay, so let's get back to Kevin.
Okay.
You went on a date in December. Okay. This was 94? 93?
93.
Okay. And that went well.
It did.
Okay. And then you said, when did you say that you got engaged?
So we have to backtrack because Kevin is really shy. I know. And my friend's mom, who told me I needed to contact the group, she basically extended me a personal challenge because she knew the group because 2 of her kids were in this group. And she said, if anybody can get Kevin to crack, it's going to be you.
Okay.
So it was kind of a personal challenge
Yeah.
to see if I could get him to talk to me. So
this was in the June to August.
yes. Yes. So in December, I think I came back and I showed up at his work and I said, why don't you take me to church? And, he went bright red and said, oh, okay. And then we went to church. We went to his church with his parents, and then he took me home. And his parents said, why didn't you bring her to dinner? So it kind of fed off of that. And then the next time we went, I went to dinner at their house, and his older brother was there. And the first time I'm meeting them all, and he said, so you proposed to my brother, huh? So I didn't know how to answer that.
Yeah.
I probably went bright red, and poor Kevin probably went bright red, and we just looked at each other, and maybe that's what kind of gave him the push. I don't know.
And that was right off the bat, huh?
Yeah.
Weeks after the first date?
Yeah, a few weeks after.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy. That's quick.
Yep.
How did you know that he was the one? And what qualities stood out to you?
He's quiet. My dad's very quiet. He's very handy, which my dad was kind of a handyman, tinker with things. And so it was more or less, he was like my dad, I think, where I could see those same traits in my dad that I liked, and I could see them in Kevin.
Yeah.
I could see that he was hardworking, and that personal challenge just got me to get brave and push the limit and see if I could get him to talk to me.
And he just... Okay, so we're talking engagement in January, and you said married in April?
April. Mm-hmm.
So fast.
It is.
Well, tell me about the wedding prep and where you got married.
So wedding prep was unique because I had a brother that served a mission in Ecuador, and he met his wife over there.
Okay.
And so they had to get married over there so she could get a visa to come. They got married 2 weeks before Kevin and I did here.
Wow.
So as my mom and I were planning my brother's wedding reception, I was just noting things that I liked, and we kind of planned 2 in 2 weeks and got it all done. So we were married in the Salt Lake Temple. We actually were thinking June, so we'd scheduled June, had the date for the temple reserved, and then we moved it up.
Wasn't fast enough.
And the only ceiling room that they had left was right across from the Holies of Holies in the Salt Lake Temple, which was really special because to go into that ceiling room, everybody had to be dressed in their white. And so,
right now.
So it was just
cool.
a special
Yeah.
day for us. So
Cool. Sweet. And your reception was here.
Yep, here in Syracuse.
Okay.
Had lots of family and friends show up, and
Wow.
just did the normal decorate the church building and the chapel, or not the chapel, but the cultural hall, and just had it there, and then we ran away.
Ran away on our Where'd you go?
We went to Bryce Canyon.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Like Bryce. And so where did you guys go from there? First, how?
So we were renting a basement apartment of a house right on 2000 that they've torn down now.
Yeah.
We lived there for about a year, and then the couple whose home it was, they went and served an LDS mission.
Okay.
So they asked us to move upstairs and be the tenants upstairs and kind of oversee the carrying of the house while they were gone. And so we did that. And then in 1995, we built a home in Clearfield.
Okay.
and lived there until 2008. And then we came out to West Point.
Okay. So parenthood, you said 2000.
My first boy, I've got 2 boys, 2 girls.
Right. So first child.
First child was born in 1995. So we had him while we were in the upstairs, the house in Syracuse. And then the second boy came in 1998. And then Amanda, first girl, came in 2001. And then Courtney, my baby, came in 2004. So 2 boys, 2 girls.
Yeah. What was the hardest part of becoming a mother?
Not knowing what I was getting myself into.
None of us did. Yeah.
Thinking in, your late teens to early 20s, everything, to all of a sudden you're in charge of this little human being and not knowing a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was tough. And then wondering, how am I going to raise this kid? How am I going to provide for this kid? All the questions.
It's hard. How did motherhood shape your identity and your approach to life?
So with my first, he was hard. He was a happy baby. He was actually an easy baby, but the growing pains of becoming a first-time mother and nursing, and he was hard that way. But it shaped me because I had my mom and Kevin's mom and siblings that were right there ready to help and encourage and show me kind of what to do and how to handle situations. And I guess that shaped me a little bit.
Yeah. You had your 4 kids pretty close together then.
Oh, they're all
Was it all
2.5 to 3 years apart. Yeah.
So was that the plan to have 4?
You
guys know you were done?
So when we were dating, we had talked about between 3 and 5 kids.
Mm-hmm. And you nailed it.
And we nailed it with 4. So
yeah,
we, at the time, Kevin was working full time when we were talking about having Courtney and going to school. And we just said, if we delay, then there's got to be 2 more, or we just get this baby here and be done. Mm-hmm. So we just felt, let's get this one here and go from there.
Cool. Is there any moment in that journey as a mother that stands out that is extra memorable?
Lots.
Yeah.
Just enjoying watching each stage of the kids grow up, and the different things that they faced, from riding bikes and learning to drive and all that comes with all teenager stuff. Just impactful.
Yeah.
You had to hang on. You had to have your seatbelt on and buckle up and know that life was going to take you where it was going to take you, and you might not be in total control.
Or at any control.
Right.
Were the boys easier or the girls?
My boys were easier as babies. My girls as adults have been, I don't know if easier. One of them's been easier. One of them has struggled. Yeah.
As far as personal growth, what have you learned about your strengths and weaknesses through life's challenges?
I feel like I have way more weaknesses than I have strengths, for sure.
For sure.
But I think that we all probably look at life that way.
We're our best critics.
Yes. And I think, looking back on things, we need to realize to be kind to ourselves, because we're here to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Any challenges that we are placed with, they're just learning opportunities. And if we don't pass the first time, there will always be another attempt in learning. So
there's lots to learn.
Yes.
What's your biggest lesson you've learned about balancing goals and responsibilities?
Ooh, that's a good question. Because as I was going to school, we had a child who was suffering with mental health and etc. try to balance work life, spouse life, mom life, and take care of this child that needed extra attention. Um, Yeah, to decide where your priorities needed to be. And it wasn't just my priority thing, it was a whole family priority thing.
It involves all of
It,
you.
it took all of us, and it obviously shaped us.
Yeah.
Um, it definitely brought the family closer together. And that's probably been, yeah, sorry.
Okay.
That's probably been the biggest impact in shaping the Lees into who we are today.
Yeah. I don't know that situation for you. Um, it's rough seeing your
It's tough.
kids struggle for sure. What's one of your favorite moments with your children that you'll never forget?
Um, Probably going to Oregon to watch my second son get married to his bride. It was during COVID, and so you couldn't have big receptions and
Yeah.
whatnot. So we flew out to Morgan's parents' property and had a cute little wedding there. And then we went on a little road trip to the Redwoods in California and just spent quality time there with family. So,
Oregon's cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty other.
Yeah.
Your hobby was water aerobics.
Yes.
So we can tie that also into health and well-being.
Yes.
How did you get into that, and why is that a thing?
So my son decided that he wanted to start going to the gym, my oldest son, and he bought me a pass for Mother's Day. And then in June, he'd like, "Are you even using this?
This year?
I bought this for you." This has been a couple of years.
Yeah, so you've been okay.
So I had to confess to him that I hadn't used it. And he said, "Mom, I spent that money to get you a present." So I said, "If you'll go to a water aerobics class with me, I'll go." So we went to a water aerobics class. I fell in love with it. I loved the workout. I loved the
vibe.
The socialization that was happening around me. And I'm glad it grabbed me because it just sucked me in and I wanted to keep doing it.
Yeah.
I've been doing that for a few years now. And when I was going to school for my business management degree, it was just that one thing that could give me a little bit of break from studying and testing and working, and just that one little social outlet that I
love to have that.
And then I had some friends there that would just check on me and ask me how schooling was going and laugh with me and cry with me and celebrate with me. So it was a good thing that got me going.
Really, mixing that social and
Yeah.
exercise.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah,
Good. Has it always been at you?
it has been.
Good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
You said the tradition was having your family come over for Christmas.
Yes.
So what started that?
Probably when we got married.
Been going that long.
Yeah. Well, we would go to my parents' house, and then a few years ago, they sold their house, and we moved from 5 houses east of here to this house that we're in today. And it had a good floor plan for parties, better than other family members. So the party and moved here. So
you moved houses so you could have a party.
that's right.
Nice.
That's right. Actually, we moved houses because we wanted to grow old here
Yeah.
and have a floor plan.
Better
that would be
layout.
easy on us when we got older. And we also, I don't know if Kevin feels this way, but I told him that this is a house that is set up to caregive if we need to. And now we are caregiving with my parents.
Are they both here?
They both are
Oh,
here.
okay.
Yep.
Well, that's awesome to be able to do. I know one thing that we want to cover is also ways that you've been impacted by spiritual experiences. So if you have any that you'd like to share.
So one would be with my friend from junior high. Just hearing everything that she had gone through.
Yeah.
From 2 years old up to 15 in high or junior high. It was very impactful that somebody could go through that much in their lifetime at that age. And then another spiritual experience and growth would be when our daughter was in the hospital.
Okay.
And just watching miracles happen every day and being able to pray for her and pray for our other kids and be able to share stories from the apostle and talks that they had given, and then being able to turn it all over to the Lord. Very impactful.
Yeah.
So
Just moments like that are definitely hard to do on your own without influence like that. When did you first feel a strong connection to the gospel? Kind of riding on their parents' coattails or whatever they say,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
To feeling it yourself.
Probably we had been married for a while and they had called me to be in a presidency, and I thought, what exactly do I know? What should I know? And what am I going to do to figure it out for myself? You know, you're a grown adult now. You've got to not rely on mom and dad's testimony anymore. You've got to gain your own. So I would say it was later in our marriage, and we had children. And it was like, now we've got to be able to teach these little ones too.
Yeah. They got to rely on you now.
Yep.
Was there a specific moment or person that's helped strengthen your testimony?
Oh. I think just the weekly attending sacrament meeting and filling the Spirit. Can't say there's been one in particular because there's been so many that have been impactful. I think it's just that daily get into the scriptures, make sure you're saying your prayers, working on your own testimony that continues to build an impact.
It's important to keep the habit and to do the daily follow up to that. Do you have a favorite scripture or principle of the gospel?
Oh, it all starts with faith. If we don't have the faith, then we're not going to believe. So faith in trusting and knowing that Heavenly Father has a plan for each one of us. He's in charge, and He's put us here to learn and to grow. And that all starts with faith.
Were your parents and grandparents members? I guess, or what?
They were
Or spiritual at least, or religious. So
my mom's parents were, I guess you'd consider them less active. My grandpa was a smoker and a drinker. They probably did not attend church a lot. My mom took herself to church growing up quite a bit and had a hard time with it because she remembers going to church and smelling like cigarette smoke and being judged, but she did it. And boy, if you a tough upbringing, that would be it, I think. Going and watching and doing everything on your own. My dad's family, they were very active. My grandpa was involved with the youth a lot. It wasn't non-typical to have a Sunday football game in their backyard of all the young men coming over, and my grandpa would be right out there with them. So
Oh, your mom came from a life in the church where it was much harder for her, and she
absolutely,
persevered.
absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yep.
I'm sure that's very helpful in your childhood
Yeah.
of seeing a testimony like that and commitment.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to thank you so much for sharing your story. Is there anything else you'd like to share or say to the Ward family that's listening?
I just want to thank you for doing this. This is a great opportunity to get to know the members of the ward, and I'm grateful for each ward member. Each one of them is part of this story. They have a little bit to tell, and they probably have no idea the impact that they're making on others every single week. Just the show up, the smile, the just being there. So
Thank you. I've learned a lot from our conversation, especially about you guys. So I'm happy to be doing this as well. So thank you.
yeah,
I think it'll be good. I think that this will be fun for the ward, and
yeah,
that'll be a bonding thing for everybody.
yeah. We hope so.
Thank you.